Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Coffee to You and Me. Today, we got a super special show. Before we get into it, though, I want to make sure I remind everyone, if you're just subscribing to us for the first time or just watching the show for the first time, this show is being broadcasted live on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. You'll be able to catch us in all those different areas, and you'll be able to catch the rebroadcast whenever you want. So you can go on demand and catch it, or you can catch one of our rebroadcasts that we'll do a little later on. If you want to see all the things we've been doing since we started this live broadcast, you can go back and catch every episode on YouTube. You won't miss any. There's been over 100 episodes. I'm very proud of our ability to focus in this way and create great opportunities for entrepreneurs, for business leaders, and to just make magic happen for so many people. Today's episode is super special. We're going to be talking today about the last step in what I call the RAP approach. The RAP approach is one of the most engaging systems that creates wellness and mental clarity and health for so many people all over the country and all over the world. So many entrepreneurs and business leaders are using it today to make sure that they're creating the kind of engaged atmospheres and relationships with the professionals that work with them, either within their organization or outside the organization. Minority suppliers and developers are using this strategy. Small businesses, small women-owned and minority-owned businesses are using this strategy. It is an amazing strategy, and I'm so glad to be able to share it with you in detail today. As most of you all know, this is Coffee to You and Me. Coffee to You and Me is a program that I started more than 20 years ago, really helping business leaders and entrepreneurs, sales professionals, representatives of all types, really figure out the best way to craft their messages, to put information out into the universe, into the space, into their marketplaces, and then their chosen target audiences, so that they could put their best foot forward and do what they mean and say what they mean and do what they say, kind of thing, making sure they have the level of authenticity, the level of integrity, and the level of a commitment to the causes and the missions and the organizations that they belong to or support or create. We've been doing this for quite a while. My name is Coach Powell. I'm the CEO and the founder of Coach Powell Training and Development. And my responsibility in this is to create learning products and processes that help individuals and organizations really, really expand upon whatever concept or idea that they feel is going to be useful within the marketplace, and then to help identify and to make sure that that is in fact the case. One of the reasons why I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the RAP approach. One of the reasons why I wrote the RAP approach is to help people to figure out how to not just create engaging environments around them, but how to give people their flowers while they live. I was attending, when I was a young man, I attended lots of funerals and lots of services and lots of memorial services for individuals. And I heard some of the most amazing stories and some of the best, accolades and concepts and, just the outpouring of great news about the person who was either lying in a box or whose photo was in front of us, or in an urn somewhere. And I knew they weren't alive to hear all the great things that people had said about them. In fact, what I did also hear was the fact that most people were sorry they didn't get a chance to share their real feelings, their real emotions about what the person was experiencing, who that person was to them, what they meant to them in their lives, and how they impacted their lives. And I thought, this is a shame. I'm really tired of this. I'm really tired of only hearing about the great news of people in my life at the end of their lives. And I thought, we've got to do some things to change that. And then it hit me that, corporations and organizations and businesses and all kinds of places where people meet, whether it's a church organization or a nonprofit organization, they suffer from the same thing. They suffer from the lack of ability to appreciate and to share their true affection for one another. Yes, I said it. I said affection. I don't mean appreciation. I don't mean any type of congratulations. I mean affection, because it's very, very important. If you've been following what we've been doing with the RAP approach over the last 2 weeks, we started with the first tenet of the RAP approach, which is respect, right? And we let you know back then that respect is not a general appreciation or some kind of regular greeting type of thing we would do for anybody, everybody. No, respect is very specific. It's specific to a person. It's specific to their achievements. It's just specific to their ability to invoke some type of admiration in another person. And so you don't respect a person if you don't admire them. If you don't admire them, if there's not something specific about them that you admire, then you probably don't respect them. Now, you may have that feeling of respect and admiration, but then not know how to articulate it, because words really can't capture some forms of deep admiration. And I understand that. But the point I want to make to you is the RAPapproach is there to help you try to figure out what are the words. What are the techniques? What are the strategies that you could use to actually capture real admiration, real respect for someone else? And then the second week after that, we talked about, the second tenet of the RAPapproach, which is affection. Why is it important that we share affection with one another? Why is it important in the human family that we let each other know that we deeply care for one another? Why is that such an issue? And we discovered as a result of doing all the research that, in the Western communities, this is very, very difficult. It is very, very difficult for people to receive affection from others. And it's difficult for people to share and show affection for one another, because then it becomes difficult to find ways to use and abuse them. It becomes difficult to find ways to exploit them, because it's hard to do that with somebody you care about. It's also easier for you to be vulnerable and then to be exploited or somehow abused when you are vulnerable. So you have to be very careful. We've been so careful in our world about how we show affection to one another that we just don't do it. We just assume that everybody's out to get us, or we assume that everybody's in for something bad. And that's a negative assumption that spirals in the wrong direction for the entire human family. And so we talked about that in week number 2. So if you want to go back and check that out, check out last week's episode, go ahead and do that. There's a lot of information there, a lot of documents that we shared, a lot of formal ideas and concepts. This week, though, we're getting into the third and final aspect of the RAPapproach. How is it that you can take another individual, show them that you truly admire them, you have a deep level of respect for them, and that they matter in the workplace, in the organizations that you belong to, in the families and the spiritual practices that you have, in the religious groups that you cherish? How do you do that? How do you make sure that you let someone know anytime they have done, said, or just been someone that has getting deep into your spirit and come out that admirable quality that they have has been a light to you of what you need to be doing, or what could happen for you, or what they've done that's just so impressive, and who they are that's just so magnificent in your mind. And we're going to get into it. How do you do it? How do you share that? And how do you do it in an authentic, genuine, and most importantly, an appropriate way? Because I know a lot of times we shy away from sharing affections with each other, specifically in the workplace, because we think that it's inappropriate. And I'm going to argue that there's nothing further from the truth. It is so appropriate that we tell each other how we feel about each other, especially when that feeling is a positive and admirable thing. It's important that we share that and show that information. It's important that we give each other the praise. And that's today's topic. Today's topic is all about how do we reach deep, and how do we give each other the praise that we need to give each other, and all the benefits that come. And so we're going to get into it. We're going to have a great time. If you have anything that you want to share in the chat, feel free to go ahead and do that. Feel free to post your information in the chat. Feel free to comment anything you want to comment. We're going to try to keep today's show kind of short, kind of brief, so we can answer any questions that you guys may have. And I'll sort of pose some questions that I want to see your answers to. And if you could pose the answers to those questions in the chat, that's great. The more you engage with this material, the more engaged you are with what we're having to share, the better off it's going to be for you, the better off it's going to be for me. And we're going to take a quick little commercial break, and we're going to come right back at it in just a second. So I hope you stay with me. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Check it out. Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to Coffee, Tea, You and Me. It is time to get the ball rolling today. Today's program is going to be so exciting. Today we're talking to you about the RAP approach. And we're going into the final phase of the RAP approach. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about it. And RAP, just so you know, is an acronym. It stands for respect, affection, and praise. Now, at the Roundtable, which is an organization I belong to, I'm a co-founder with, and I'm responsible for all the educational materials and all the training that we give to our members to help them communicate more effectively, help them to encourage one another in a brilliant way, and help them find ways to collaborate together to create a stronger, not just organization, but powerful businesses for those that belong to the organization. They get that benefit. And so in that approach, I started to think through, what do our members really need to know to truly connect to one another, to truly show their affection for one another, and to truly how and create leverage amongst each other that will really be important and impactful. So we created a program called the RAP approach. And the RAP approach turns out to be a systematic way of thinking about how another individual can be uplifted by other individuals. So how do you do it? How does it go? What do we need to do? How do we need to get there? We're going to talk about all of that today. But specifically in the roundtable, we use the RAP approach as a final analysis to the end of our meeting. We call it the RAP report. And so we choose a member, or we let each member go around and talk about how they respect and how they love and how they care for and how they appreciate the members that have impacted their lives in some way, shape, or form. And maybe it's they gave them a referral, or maybe it's they worked with them together to launch a project, or work on a project together. Maybe they had some skills they brought to the table, or helped them find some new relationships they needed to find in order to make it easier for them to do the things they want to do. All these things are things that are very, very approachable, very, very useful, and how we can, as a human family, leverage our time, talent, and treasure together to create a better opportunity for all of us. And those of us who get this and understand that we function largely on an emotional/mental plane with one another that causes us to be able to do things either effectively or not. And it's very, very important that we understand all the tools, the techniques, and strategies we could use to make those relationships be more effective and more efficient and work well, so that we can, well into the future, so we can always depend on each other. We can always trust one another. And it's all about trust when it's all said and done. How do you get to a high level of trust with people who, if they trusted you more, would be more supportive to what you're trying to do? And so you can use the RAP approach to not just create more engagement amongst your teams. You can use the RAP approach to identify and recruit advisory councils, boards of directors, people that you're going to want to get engaged and get involved with on a deeper, more meaningful way than just a transaction. Now, you don't need to do this with people that you only want to have a transactional relationship with. Let's just call it there. If you want to just have a transactional relationship with a person, please don't get into the RAP approach, because this is not going to be something that's going to be useful for you. You're not going to have the emotional bandwidth to do this with anybody and everybody you contact. You're going to have the ability to do this with people who you have really structured, and you really want to structure a meaningful relationship going forward. So I don't suggest that you try to RAP approach with everybody, but I do suggest that you do try to RAP approach with people that you are close to, people that are in your inner circle, people that you want to grow into inner circle people. Definitely use the strategy, definitely use the approach. And I'm going to do you a good solid today. I'm going to post a couple things in the chat as we move forward today, so that you will have the opportunity to download that information for yourself, to share it with people that you think might be useful. And I want to let you know right off the bat, there's nothing that I share with you that I don't want you or I'm giving you the power and the privilege to share with other people. The first thing I'm going to share with you today is the resource guide for today's topic. Today's topic is going to be authentic praise. How do we do authentic praise? How do we get there? How do we make it happen? And I want you, when you get this, when you're able to pull it off of the chat, no matter what time you watch this, or if you watch this live right now while we're doing it, or you catch the recording later on, you should be able to get to it. And if you can't, do me a favor, look in the chat, find the email links and text links or whatever, and hit me up. Let me know in any way, shape, or form that you can of what you need. You can even send me a text message. How can I get the copy of that document, that resource guide that you were sharing with everyone? Because I really want to make sure that everyone, doesn't have any excuse. So let me mark this down. Today's resource guide. All right, if I could spell, I'd be dangerous. Look, check that out. Here we go. Boom. Okay, it's coming over right now. I hope you can see it. I hope you can get it. So if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, you'll be able to go right and copy that link and paste it to your own browser and download the document. Please download the document for yourself. Now, if you're on LinkedIn, you're not going to do that because LinkedIn hasn't given StreamYard, which is my streaming service, the privilege of being able to do that. And so I will later on go back and post this into the LinkedIn show. So if you're seeing this on LinkedIn, you're not be able to download the document. Don't worry about it. I'm going to catch it up to you, and you're going to get it later on. But just follow along with what some of the things that we're talking about, and hopefully you'll be able to engage with us at some future point in time. And maybe LinkedIn will open up their algorithm and allow the post to happen. But for now, I'm going to have to do it manually. I'm going to have to go in there on the post myself and download the documents. So the first document I want you to take a look at, before we go into the general overall RAP approach, I want you to really, really look at today's specific document and the training guide for today. And if you look at that, what you're going to see right off the bat, and I hope you get this, right off the bat, authentic praise is literally the glue that holds the whole RAP approach process together. If you don't get that, then you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make tremendous mistakes because it is important. Praise and authentic praise is important. There is so much to this that I'm not going to have time to get into this, all day today. That's why I'm giving you the resource guide. So you can look it up for yourself, and you can see all of the links to everything and all of the resources and things that we share on this thing. But I just want to talk to you a little bit about authentic praise today. What do you think it means? Have you ever been praised and somebody has really been excited about sharing who you are and what you're all about, or something that you've done to a group of other people that you would love to be able to garner their respect, right? And remember, I said respect is not just the general overall, I respect you because you're a person. No, it's very specific. It's very unique to you, and it requires an admiration. And so if I admire you, right, and I am able to share my admiration for you with a whole group of people that you also want to admire you, what I'm doing is I'm transferring that energy, that trust, that admiration from me to the entire group. I'm affecting everybody, literally infecting everyone with your praise and making sure that they understand why you are a person of substance, why you are a person of value, why you matter. And it's very, very important, at least why you matter to me. Now, there's a lot of tricks and techniques I want to get into, but let me just make sure that I don't deviate from our program. And I'm just going to read you some excerpts from the document, and then hopefully we'll have some dialogue, some reflection, some back and forth as we begin to do this. Okay. Authentic praise. Here's the resource guide. What is the best way to articulate your approval and outright appreciation and affection for another professional? How do you meaningfully and personally give voice to the positive impact that someone may have had in your life? Can you adequately convey your feelings of privilege or devotion? Do you even know how to ask the right questions so that you can figure it out? What if you found yourself struggling with these ideas and concepts? What if you couldn't figure out, how to use the best phrases or the best categories of ideas and things to talk about when the time arrives, when it's important to do so? It's a very difficult thing because there are certain people that you're going to come into your life where you should be giving them an attaboy right now. That you should be telling them what they said or what they did or what they shared with you that was so meaningful and passionate to you, but you had a hard time finding the words, right? And so you go to maybe a traditional, that was great, that was wonderful, thank you so very much. kind of general overall, thank you or sharing your gratitude, but nothing works more than specific, authentic praise. I can't stress that to you more than that. That's just really what it is. The fact is, we all need to be better and more genuine communicators in terms of how we have the techniques and deliver the praise to one another. Praise is where the whole entire rap approach comes together. It gives voice to your feelings. It helps you understand how to share your admiration and high regard and affection for someone else. It gives glory and honor to the greatness that we see in each other, and it allows us to transfer these positive feelings to others around you, and able to real trust, and togetherness to have their best shot. When was the last time you heard someone that you trust pay tribute publicly to someone else that maybe you didn't even know well? What happened? I promise you that everyone in the room felt exactly like you did. You probably felt like, this person is amazing. This person is great. I really want to get to know this person. And whatever they said, the specific thing they said, I want that in my life. And I see that it's possible. Either I can talk to this person about it, or I can go back and figure out how I can use it myself. But the idea, the transfer of it just happened because someone else took the time to give specific, authentic praise to someone else. The key to making praise work in building a cohesive team that focuses on authenticity and integrity is very, very important. When praise takes on a fake or manufactured expression, it turns into mistrust. And I want you to be careful for that, because, when you choose a person and you bestow some kind of accolades on them, if it doesn't come from an authentic heart, it's going to feel inadequate. And it's probably going to make them feel just a little bit like they didn't deserve it. The reward that you tried to share with them was unjust. And that means it's going to fall on deaf ears. It's going to be very difficult for people to go, oh. And the next time you go out after and you try to boost somebody up, or you try to give somebody what they think is, authentic praise, then your reputation is going to be damaged because of it, because you're giving fake praise. And that's not a good thing. It's never a good thing to do. You always want to make sure you're authentic. You always want to make sure your praise is specific. The risk of taking things too far and kind of overdoing it, it cheapens the praise, and it makes it difficult for people to have that positive social response. It's amazingly good and it's helpful when the praise is genuinely earned, when the person has done something that you really, really admire, done something that's really, really special to you, or said something, or shared an idea or a concept, or just created a relationship for you. Whatever they did, it has to be genuine, that it moved you. It really made a difference for you, and it helped create something for you that you could not have created without them. Remember the term my buddy Darren uses every year around Thanksgiving. He teaches us what domo arigato means. And it means it could not have been without you. It could not have been without you. When others can authenticate and echo the praise of a team member or associated, it has a general ring of truth. It's got to be believable to other people. If it's not, then it smacks of, aggrandizement, or, you're overdoing it and it's going over the top, right? So you don't want to do that. You do want to make it genuine. You want to make it authentic. You want to make it believable. It has to be there. Be careful about who sings your praises. When specific deeds that you've done are not made public and observable, and when the presenter is not somebody who anybody else would place their faith or trust in, then the praise is not going to work. It's going to come back hollow. It's going to fall on deaf ears, and it certainly won't resonate with people. And it's going to create what we call, it's going to be difficult to create the social trust multiplier effect. Now, from the research and from the articles that I was able to read and the quotes that I was able to pull, I identified 5 key characteristics that you must think about when it comes to delivering, accepting, and receiving authentic praise. These 5 characteristics are this. 1, you must make sure that the praise matters. It's got to matter, not just to the people that you're delivering the praise to, but to the person that you're giving the praise for, right? It has to matter. Number 2, you have to feel forward. You have to feel like this praise is moving you forward. You have to feel like it's moving you, the relationships, the people that are in it. It has to move forward. If praise doesn't move you forward, then it hurts you, it damages you, it moves you backward, it makes you stand still, it makes you think more than you should be thinking. You know, if it's not a trust multiplier, like I said earlier, then it's not working, right? You got to be specific. You cannot be general in your praise, because here's the thing. Well, we'll get into it a little later on. You know, never wait to deliver praise. It's important. Number 4, you cannot wait. You have to deliver the praise when it's time, at the time, whenever you can, as much as you can. Don't think that, you know, it's inappropriate. It's always appropriate as long as it's genuine, right? Number 5, be the one. Don't be the person who holds on to the opportunity to share somebody else's greatness. Keep it, let it go, just give it up. Don't be that person who's like, oh well, I don't want them to get a big head, or I don't want them to think I really care about them, or I don't want to be vulnerable in that way. Stop it. You're hurting and damaging others, and their relationships and their reputation is going to be damaged by that. So you got to make sure you do this right. I don't know about how many times this has ever happened for you all, but whenever somebody takes the time to authentically see me, takes the time to make sure that, you know, what they're saying about me matters to me, and really, really digs deep to make sure that I can feel myself moving forward in what they're suggesting that I might be about, or what they loved about me, or what they loved about something that I said or did, then it helps me to feel better about it, right? When they're very specific, the more specific, the better, right? And if it's timely, if it's doing the right, it's supposed to be right in the right time when it's supposed to happen, really, it's nothing more magical about it. And how I feel about that person automatically gets elevated to a level that, you know, you can't get there any other way. You know, because you imagine somebody giving you the best introduction you've ever heard. So imagine somebody bringing you on stage and putting you in front of people in a way that you've never experienced before in your life. It can be magical, especially in the right moment. And so take it for what it's worth and make sure that you give it back and you pay it back, right? This is the general stuff. But let's talk about what we're talking about. When we're talking about making sure that it matters, let's listen to some instruction from one of the masters. John Wooden is one of the best coaches that ever existed on the face of the planet. I'll tell you that right now. He goes down in UCLA history as one of the greatest, right? But he says some things that concern me, and I want to share it with you because it's literally the #1 quote about how to deal with praise. And he says, you can't either let praise or criticism get to you. It's a weakness to get caught up in either one. Now, I agree with Wooden that it is a weakness to get caught up in criticism. But I disagree that it's a weakness to get caught up in praise. Because when people are delivering genuine, authentic praise, it is that. It is true, right? It's meaningful, it's powerful, it's passionate. And getting caught up in the truth is never going to do you wrong. It's never going to be bad for you. So I'm going to tell you to follow half of Wooten's advice here, right? Because it's easy to see how business leaders can come to the same conclusion that, you know what, I don't want people to get a big head. I don't want people to, you know, feel like they're special or something is unique about them, that we really care about, that we really need them and all that kind of stuff. Because then, you know, then they may have an advantage, or then they may be able to feel good about themselves. You know, come on, that's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. But what we tend to do is we try to marginalize this and try to go, oh, we don't want to tell people what we really think about their performance, what we really think about what they deliver to our organizations and how powerful and passionate they really can be. And it therefore diminishes people's feelings about how they want to commit to the organizations and how they want to be a part and how they want to engage, because they're not feeling it. They're not feeling felt. They're not feeling found. They're not feeling identified with. And so therefore it's very, very difficult. It's important to know that when you've achieved or done something noteworthy in the eyes of your leaders and colleagues, and as I suspect many of you have done before, that you are adequately recognized for it. When you're not, it's hard for you to know what's what. It's hard for you to know, did I do the right thing? Is this working well? Does anybody care? Does it matter? Do I matter? And you really have to, you know, be careful not to do anything or say anything that's going to make people feel like they don't belong. And the best thing you can do is just to ignore them. don't say anything. That's the worst. So understand that praise is a way that we convey and confer confidence to one another. And when we don't do that well, then we rob somebody of having the understanding that they belong, or understanding that they've done something magical or meaningful, they're significant or relevant. And you can't do that to people. You just, as a leader, you definitely shouldn't do that to people. As a team member, you shouldn't do it to people. If you're an associate, a colleague, if you belong to the same organization, you should be looking for opportunities to uplift people and make sure they know how wonderful they are and how great it is through your eyes, the magic that you see in them. If not, then you're part of the problem. If you're not specifically taking time to do that, then you are part of the issue. And I can't stress that more. Second aspect, a characteristic that you will need to do is you need to feel the forward motion of this thing, right? William Arthur Ward says, "Blessed is he who has learned to admire but not envy, to follow but not imitate, to praise but not flatter, and to lead but not manipulate." There's been many times on coaching sessions and calls when I've helped people to understand the difference between manipulation and influence. And the difference between manipulation and influence is clear. It is intention. If your intention is to convey the trust, is to convey the affection, is to convey the belief in someone else, and in your praise for them, if that's your intention, then that's going to be good. It's going to work. But if your intention is to bolster them up so they feel good about themselves and feel good about you, then that's not a good thing. If it's just self-serving, that you're trying to share the accolades for somebody else, then that's not work. Now, don't get me wrong. You will be served by giving this kind of positive, radiant energy to and for another person. That will help you tremendously because, one, you're going to feel good about yourself. Let's just go there for a second, right? Two, you're going to be able to share that you know how to make a meaningful contribution to the group, to the team, by helping them highlight and see the gifts that they have amongst each other or with each other. And that might be a skill that you develop that helps other people develop the same skill. And all of a sudden now it's coming back to you in a bigger, more magnificent way than ever. So make sure that the praise that you give, it's moving everybody forward. If it doesn't move everybody forward to build higher levels of trust, higher level of connection, higher level of responsibility, then you did it wrong. You're not speaking the right language. You're not using the right tools or right strategy. The ideas and impressions that you share in the form of a testimonial or recommendation, or maybe even a written endorsement, should be pure. I mean, you can post these things on the social media. You can post them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is you need to do about another person. Try to do it. Try to do it regularly. I do it regularly every single week. I try to find somebody in my network to post and share some wonderful things about. And I try to do it publicly, and I link them to it. And I make sure that their friends and associates know that they're involved in this, or this is something that's about their friend or another associate. And I try to make sure that I keep a lot of positive energy going for people, especially people in my inner circle, people that I'm close to, people that I want to be close to. These are people that are important, that I give them. I take notice and I pay attention and I give them that praise. Very, very important. Be specific. Can't tell you more about this. This is just one of those key ideas. Tolstoy says, in the best and the friendliest and simplest relations, flattery or praise is necessary, just as grease is necessary to keep the wheels turning. Praise is necessary in your professional and personal relationships. I don't care if you got a mentor or a protege. I don't care if you have a boss, follower type relationship, or a leader or a teammate, whatever the relationship is. On both sides of that equation, praise is critical. It is important. It keeps the relationship moving forward. It keeps the relationship from stalling. It keeps the relationship from growing boring or inconsistent, or even worse, irrelevant. Nobody wants to be in irrelevant relationships where they don't matter. Praise helps them understand they do matter. So it's very important. When somebody gives you praise, it's very, very important that you know how to accept it as authentic, that you understand what is authentic about it and accept it for what it is, truly what it is. When you do that, you're doing well. But what you should never do, like I said earlier, it's going to come back to you, but what you should never do is just mirror the praise that somebody gave you just now. Somebody said to you, "Oh, you're wonderful, you're great. I really love what you said about that." And you say, "Well, you're wonderful, you're great too." Again, not specific, right? But even just a thank you, it's very hard for that to be specific. If somebody says something specific for you, then you should thank you. You say thank you for noticing that. I really put a lot of effort into doing just exactly that, and it warms my heart tremendously to know that someone got it, and I see that you get it. And makes so much. It does so much for me. Thank you so much. But if when someone gives you a general, "Oh, that was just wonderful. I really love what you did there," um, how do you respond to that? All you can say is thank you. And again, the return that you want to give is not as great because it wasn't specific in the first place, right? So don't just parrot back what somebody said to you. Really take the time to think about what it might have meant to them. Because when they give you specific praise, then they've already shared with you what it meant to them specifically. And then you can come back with them and go, I really, really love that you really tuned into this particular idea. That really resonated with me as well. If you ever want to talk more about it, if you ever want to, spend some more time just sharing with it, I'm open to talking to why that was so important to you and why that meant so much to you. You see what I did there? You see how you might facilitate a further relationship based on the praise that somebody gave you? Whether it was first personal praise in your face kind of praise or publicly announced kind of praise, it doesn't matter. What matters is you keep that energy going, you keep that energy moving forward, and you build on it. It's what creates magical relationships, right? Because people know automatically that they respect you, you respect them. Respect is reciprocated back and forth, and when that happens, it's something that you admire about each other, and you can always use that as a foundation to your relationship. The next principle, next characteristic about praise I want you to know is to never wait. There's a timeliness involved with authentic praise. There's a moment, there's a spirit, there's something that's in the room, in the air, in the moment that you feel it. And your ability to capture that feeling and really stay with it and hang on to it longer than you might have if you just dismissed it or didn't really pay attention or didn't share it back with the person that just did something wonderful, wrote something wonderful, said something wonderful to you, is incredibly, that's the distance could be an emotional distance, right? Could be really long. And so you want to make sure you give it right now. You don't want to let the moment pass. You don't want to let the moment go. Because again, just like this example from Mark Twain, if you wait until a person passes to share, they're on another plane, they're with their ancestors, they're gone, right? You wait until that point comes to share, then you're doing it out of your guilt. You're doing it out of your feeling like you want to do something for you and for other people, but that person in the box, it's already over for them. They don't get a chance to benefit from that. They don't get a chance to grow from that. They don't get a chance to feel like they have gotten somewhere or they've done something meaningful or significant. It's too late. You can't give them their flowers while they're on the grave. It's too late. You need to give it to them while they're alive, right? Don't hesitate, specifically with your favorite people. Find a way to celebrate and honor them as soon as possible. While they're amongst the living, while they're here with us, in the moment that you're experiencing, do it now and do it often. Nobody gets tired of hearing how wonderful they are. Again, as long as it's specific, because, like, for instance, musicians like, Prince or Michael Jackson or James Brown or whatever it is you float your boat, right? They hear it all the time. That people love them and people want to be around them and people, they hear the Beatles, they heard it all the time, right? But it has a specific ring of authenticity and connection when it is genuinely specific. I promise you this, if you ever approach a musician and you mention a specific within something that they wrote or said or done, you're going to get a lot more back from them than if you were general. You were in general. Oh, that was a great show. Stand up and applause. That's great. Everybody loves that. Love the love of the audience. The please. But people want to know, what did I do specifically that really, really did it for you? I know overall you love the show, but what specifically that you really love about the show? Everybody wants to know that information. And the more you are good at honing in on those moments that light you up and then sharing those moments with someone else, the better you're going to get at this praise thing. And so pay attention. Pay attention to the things you like. Pay attention to the things you love. Pay attention to the people who kind of inspire you to see something different. You know, I once did this, and I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it to you right now. The first time I got a chance to hear Les Brown give a presentation, I was at the 75th anniversary conclave of my fraternity, and I was a brand new member of the fraternity. I was young, undergraduate. I was coming out of college. I was still in college at the time, but I was just ending my college career, and I had been a member of the fraternity, and I loved being a part of the fraternity. I was at the national meeting, and Les Brown was the presenter. And Les Brown does such a smash bang up job of really, really sharing such brilliant information, especially for the brothers, what we needed to know about our lives and the possibilities and all that kind of stuff right then. We were a captive audience of young, talented young men who were about to do great things in the universe, great things in the world. And I was so moved by his presentation that I had to go up and I had to share it with him. I had to tell him, Les, you know, with Mr. Brown, I really love what you said about whatever. I can't even remember what it was specific about at that time, but it was something very specific, and that really, really lit me up, and it really, really excited me. And I wanted to share that with him. It was so much. I wanted to let him. I wanted to let him know how grateful I was that he took the time to come and talk to us and share this information with us. Les turned right around and he said to me, "You know what? You're going to be a motivational speaker. I know you're going to be a motivational speaker or something." But I thought it was a bunch of BS, and he didn't know me, and it was just whatever. And guess what? Look at what I'm doing right now. This is what I get to do right now, is I get to share my ideas and thoughts to people that motivate and inspire them. And so it's a great turning point. Never wait. If Les hadn't ever said that to me, this would not be a thought in my mind. It would not be an opportunity for me to think I could be a speaker, because I'm very much an introvert. I don't like crowds. I don't like, you know, sharing too much with people, because it takes a lot of energy and effort for me, right? But I realize that I'm not bad at it. You know, I don't suck. You know, I know how to tell a story and coin a phrase and make a few jokes here and there. Sometimes I'm even funny. But it's important that you don't wait. It's important that you give people the benefit of the praise that they deserve and they earned as soon as you can, no matter what it is. Even if it's something small, like somebody the other day, and I'm going to tell you this one thing and I'm going to let it go. I'm going to move on to the next topic. I was sitting in IHOP, and I realized that I had to go to the bathroom, and I was doing some work. I was studying, and I left my my famous blue notebook that many of you know have seen it, right? My famous Franklin planner. I left it at the table where I was sitting at, and it was visible, and so because I knew I was coming back to the table, and I had paid the bill, and I left the bill there, and I grabbed my credit card and took my wallet and everything, and I took it with me to the bathroom. I left my glasses there too, because I was doing some research. So on my way to the bathroom, a young lady stopped me. Two ladies stopped me, and they were waiting, I guess, for their husband or one of their husbands or brothers or something like that to come and have lunch with them. But they told me, you left your stuff over there on the table, because they thought I was leaving, because I was exiting the building. And I said, no, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. But thank you. And then I was at the bathroom, and I realized that they didn't have to warn me that I had left my things. They didn't have to do that. They went out of their way to specifically let me know that this was happening. And I so appreciated that in them that I had to come back. When I came back out of the bathroom, the third party they were waiting for was there. And I said, young lady, ladies, I don't mean to disturb your lunch or dinner, but I just wanted to just give you my thanks for just reminding me, even though I was just going to the bathroom, just reminding me and taking the time to remind me that I may have been leaving this behind, because it's very, very important to me. If I left it behind, I would know what I would do, with myself. And it just means so much to me that you would take the time to do that. And as a result of that, we struck up an amazing conversation. They were like, it doesn't matter, we're going to eat, but you're just fabulous and wonderful. What are you working on over there? And they wanted to find out more about me. They wanted to ask me questions. And this might turn into a client relationship or a leverage opportunity, whatever it is. But just because I was kind enough to recognize that they didn't have to share that information with me, and even though it wasn't something that it wasn't something a real alarm, right? It wasn't a real fire. It wasn't a real, tragedy or anything like that. It was something small. It was something, it was the time to say thank you was not when they left the room. The time to say thank you was right then and there. The time to give authentic and specific gratitude for what I was experiencing from them right then was right then. And so I did it. I didn't wait, I didn't hesitate, I didn't let the moment pass, because I'm very sensitive to, the times when people extend themselves to do what they need to do for you, to help you, to make your day, your life just a little bit brighter, or avoid a problem or a tragedy. It's very, very important. Somebody holds the door open for you. It's very, very important. Somebody picks up, something that you dropped and gives it to you. It's very, very important. And they're taking away from their time, their life, their moment, whatever that moment is, to do something for you. It is naturally innate in all of us to find those special moments to share with one another. But what's not is our level of gratitude and thanks and appreciation and doing it in a way. So this is one of the reasons, again, why I wrote the RAPapproach. RAPapproach is very, very important. Okay, the next thing I want to talk to you about, the fifth and last concept, is don't be afraid to be the one. It kind of leads to the story I just told you, right? Don't be afraid to be the one who gives the praise. Don't be afraid to be the one who says thank you. Don't be afraid to be the one that shows gratitude and the emotions behind the gratitude. Again, it's critically important. Mike Gale says, I'm telling you this for one reason and one reason only. No matter how sure you are of someone's love, it's always nice to hear it. No matter how sure you are of someone's love, it's always nice to hear it. It is never inappropriate. Be the one. Be the first. Here's what happens. When you're the first to show the love, the affection, the appreciation, the respect, the praise for someone else, to someone else, with others, then what happens is the whole room gets elevated. Everybody around them gets elevated, emotional and spiritually. It's on something that's it's difficult to explain, but it's a truth that is a part of our human character. When we all feel safe, when there's no bad guy, there's no wolf at the door, there's nothing's gonna come and get us. Then we feel safe, and when we feel safe, guess what? The best things that we can bring to the table, we bring to the table. We bring each other to the table. We bring each other. We introduce each other. We promote one another. We do everything we can to lift each other up. Much better, because we feel safe. There's nothing negative is going to happen, and we know it. And so why not? Why not love on each other? Why not give each other the praise? Why not tell each other, the things that we really feel about each other that are positive, right? I stress positive, because the positivity spreads. The love spreads. Now, that's just what I was able to find by just looking through a basic literature review on praise. I don't know if any of this has resonated with any of you so far, but if it does, if it has, do me a favor. Put something in the chat to let me know who you are, where you're coming from. Put something in the chat that lets others know that you get this. Where if something has happened to you, or something that somebody shared something positive with you, go ahead and let us know. Put the positive news in the chat. Let us know what that's all about. We want to hear from you. We want to engage with you. We want you to play with us. Even if you're watching us in a recording later on, go ahead and throw your idea, your concept in the chat. You never know whose life will be blessed by it. You never know who's reading and paying attention to it at the moment that you're doing it, or even a later moment later on, who might go, oh, wow, that's a great example of what Marvin was sharing. Remember, there are 5 elements to this thing, right? And if you have that character, if you have the kind of person who can remember to pull it off and make it work, it's great. I'm going to share with you a couple things from the Bible, because I always do this. It's in the resource guide, so if you pay attention to the resource guide, you're going to get those too. And there's a reason why I'm sharing with you from the Bible. 1, I am a Christian. 2, I do love the Bible. I do love what the Bible shares, and the wisdom and the lessons, the universal lessons that the Bible shares. And so I'm going to share with you. I'm not going to tell you, the chapter, verse, and so on and so forth, but I'm going to tell you some high level. There are 4 things that I pulled directly from the Bible about what we should do to praise one another and what we should do to share for one another. And one of the first things I got right off the bat was you have to make space for the we. Praise is a way you do that. Praise in a group setting, in a setting, is how you make space for that special gratifying spirit that moves within all of us to move. Because when I say in a group meeting or in a team function, or when I say something that's great about somebody else, and if I'm a trustworthy person, everybody else feels better about that person too. So another teammate who made a mistake, or another teammate who did something amazing, it doesn't matter what it is they did, but just bringing attention to that person for the gift that they are, for the blessing that they are in our midst in that moment. Others to see that gift as well, but it helps them to feel like they belong. It helps them to feel like they're part of something special. Especially when other people join in and say, yeah, I agree with you, Marv. That person is amazing. I love what Jim said about this. I love when he did this when we were on the court. Whatever it was, now it's starting to spread. Everybody's starting to they're giving us, they have a self-congratulations party. But you got to make space for that in whatever you're doing. Whatever you're doing with people, make space for the we. And it's always a good place. It's always a good space. It's always a good time to have that. All right. The next thing I'll learn from the Bible is really how important it is to make a real social and emotional investment in each other. No matter what you're doing, no matter where you are, what you belong to, what group, whatever it is, but there's people involved, there's an opportunity for you to notice them. There's an opportunity for you to pay attention to them. There's an opportunity for you to find something, some gift inside of them that is amazing, that's lovely, that's magical. And when you share it with them, what you found, and they know it's true, now all of a sudden they're validated in who they are. They're grounded in what they're all about and what's happening with them. It's so special. So never neglect to give somebody the praise if you can help it, right? Praise is a cause for love, right? It's the beginning of love because it's the beginning of attraction. When you see something in someone else that you admire and you share it with them, they know that you like them. At least that aspect of them, that one specific thing, that thing you like, you enjoy about them. And guess what? If they hear from other people that same thing, they feel loved. They feel connected. They feel like they belong. They can't help it. You want to hijack somebody emotionally, tell them how you feel about them, all the positive things you feel about them. Be specific about it. And trust me, they won't have a choice. If they know it's true, if they know they've delivered, if they know they've done the thing, or put some effort or energy into the thing, or they know that if it resonates with them as authentic and true, they're not going to feel bad about themselves. They're going to feel great about themselves. And because they feel great about themselves, they're also going to feel great about you. Now, again, do not use this as a manipulation strategy. Use it as a strategy to influence, yes, all day, every day, but not to manipulate, not to control, not to exploit. All right. I tell people that all the time because I teach them strategies and techniques on how to build relationships, and they can be used against people. So you have to be very careful about that, right? You've got to be authentic. You got to be true. You have to have loads of integrity when you do this, because if you don't, then it's gonna feel like you're speaking with forked tongue, and it's not gonna work the way you want it to work. In fact, it might work in the short term, but in the long term, it's gonna come back to bite you, and it's gonna burn you, and you don't want to do that. Number 4, the last thing I got from the Bible. Praise is so important that we share with one another because it grounds us in who we are and whose we are. It grounds us into the being a part of the universe, not separate from it. It grounds us into letting us know that we matter, we count, we are special, we are gifted. And in conclusion, let me just share with you this last statement. Those that are masterful at delivering praise to their teammates, to their colleagues, to the stakeholders, and to the referral sources in their universe, they can be assured that what they say to and about people really matters. Their ability to influence any team that they're a part of feels like they belong, and they become deeply committed for the long run. They're super specific about how they work through every individual that they work with, and they take the time to care and take the necessary space to see specifically what is noteworthy and unique in everybody's contribution. They're always the first to honor and celebrate others around them. You'll never see these kinds of praise warriors, I call them, leaders, shrinking away from an opportunity to lift someone else up for the better, and looking for a more appropriate time to do so. They know the time is now. The time is right. The time is now. Let's do it. Instead, what they do is they capitalize on the moment. They capitalize on the moment of now. They do it in real time, and they let their teammates know that greatness exists in their midst. Done well, an atmosphere of trust and kinship that bonds and connects each person becomes apparent. These people insist, and they assist any organization in delivering on its promise and helping to realize the collective potential of its people. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what the RAP approach is all about. Making sure that people understand the promises that they make and the collective potential of themselves. We do this well and do this right, we're going to make the world a better place. Relationship by relationship, person by person, organization by organization. We're going to change the world with the RAP approach. I hope you enjoyed today's topic. I hope you enjoyed today's program. I know I enjoyed sharing it with you and delivering it to you. Again, if you've gotten anything out of this, if there's something that you want to see more of, do me a favor, connect with me and put us in the chat, engage. It's all about engagement. I promise you, you're going to enjoy it. We're going to have fun. We're going to do things that are going to grow you and grow everybody. And so I look forward to, 2022 being an amazing year. I know it's going to be an amazing year for me. I got some things planned, so stay tuned to what we're going to be doing next. But it's going to be amazing. I promise you that. I already got some stuff in the can that I'm not going to share with you in today's broadcast. But just know, we do this out of love, and we do this because it's time. The time is now for us to deliver on the respect, the affection, and the praise that we have for one another. This is Coach Powell. It is now. We've been at this now for about an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off before I hit that hour mark. And I hope you guys had a great time. Again, if you have any information or any inspiration or anything you want to share, go ahead and put that information in chat. I'm looking forward to talking to you, looking forward to seeing you, looking forward to playing with you. And I had a wonderful time. So we'll see you later. Adios.